Hello, hello, good people. I am Dr. Hollie Kelly, and this is Dr. Kelly's perspective for Tuesday, November 15th, 2016. Today, I want to discuss my final core value for leaders. So thus far, I've amplified character, caring, courage, competence, and today is communication. And let me say this, because some people, when I say the word leadership, they take themselves out of that equation. Well, I'm not working, I'm not in the supervisor, I didn't get the management position, so, that's nice to hear, but she's not talking to me. And remember, whenever I say leader or leadership is influence. So if you influence anyone in the family, which is why I talk about family so often, family or a team, an organization, a group, if there is influence, there is leadership on your part. So don't be so quick to count yourself out of the core values. A leader who cannot communicate the vision or the direction or the purpose of the team, of the organization, of the family, loses. And again, if the leader loses, the entire team loses. Because it is never about the words that leave your lips. It's primarily how you say what you say. And as a leader, as an influencer, you don't have the luxury to be flippant or loose or lazy with your words. The master creator created an entire universe with the spoken word. They are powerful. There is a very small book. Good morning, Donnie. There is a very small book that is entitled The Four Agreements by author Don Miguel Ruiz. And the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And I just have to agree with that. Again, as a leader, we don't have the luxury to be flippant. If you are in the position of influence over dozens, hundreds, thousands, millions, and your words incite people to do things, you don't get to get off the hook by saying, well, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Because as a leader, what you communicate matters. And sometimes we don't communicate very well. We can be disillusioned to think that because we said something, we've communicated. And it doesn't work like that. Okay? If you've said something to me and I didn't understand it, you don't get to just say, well, I told her. That's, I said it. It doesn't work like that. The onus, the burden, the responsibility is on, it's a shared responsibility, but the onus is on the speaker to make sure that what you've said has been heard and understood. Okay? There's a responsibility that comes with this thing, and you have to know who you're working with well enough to know that we all learn differently. We all hear things differently. Okay, so you got to know those that you're working with. You got to know those family members, those team members, the organization. It goes back to understanding the culture, because sometimes there are a lot of blocks to communication that cannot be ignored. Okay, if I'm afraid of what you're going to say, I'm going to hear that differently. If I believe that you're judging me, I'm going to receive whatever you're telling me differently. If I think you are watching the clock and you're really not interested in what I have to say, I hear differently whatever you're trying to communicate to me, and you need to know that. I actually walked into a supervisor's office, and we were supposed to be discussing something. That was the key word. We were supposed to be discussing something. And this person said to me, well, go on and tell me what you got to say, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Do you think that changed the whole tone of the communication? Because that wasn't a two-way anything. The decision had already been made. Okay, so what comes out of our mouths matter. When you are delivering a hard conversation, the timing of everything that you say is important. Because if you're calling me in to tell me that my biopsy was positive, I can guarantee you that everything you said after that word cancer, I didn't hear it. It was womp, 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 womp. It was a Charlie Brown moment. I didn't hear anything after that. And as a leader, as a communicator, you have to recognize, you, the speaker, you, the influencer, have to recognize the timing and the placement of what you're saying matters. Okay? If you tell me my child has been in an accident, don't tell me anything important after that, because I didn't hear the rest of that. I didn't hear that. Adrenaline has rushed to my brain, and now I can't think straight. Okay? For all you teachers, you want to tell a student that they just bombed the midterm on a necessary, wasn't even an elective, on a necessary class, you got to watch the placement of how you say what you say. Delivery and timing is important. I work with teams and companies often who have expectations that have not been expressed. You got employees that do not have clarity in their expectations, and yet you're holding them accountable. You haven't even written out your expectations. We can't work like that, okay? Too often I find leaders who talk about people instead of talking to people. That's some of that courage that we spoke about a couple of days ago, okay? Talking to people matters, okay? Leaders can get into the downward spiral of having confrontations and thinking they just had a conversation. Okay. Your delivery matters. I love this topic so much. But again, I promised I would keep these short and sweet. Let me just say this. There is, George Bernard Shaw said, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Always know that just because you said something does not mean it was communicated. If I don't receive it, you didn't communicate it very well. Okay, it's our responsibility as leaders to make sure what we say has been heard and understood. Just because it came through your lips doesn't mean it made its direct intention. Okay, listen. We are down to 46 days and counting. I've got something planned that I'm going to introduce and tell you about on the next Dr. Kelly's Perspective on Thursday, to help us move forward to close out 2016 and prepare better for 2017 for all those who know that they do not want to go into 17 the same way as 16 and 15 and 14. Want a little growth. Okay. Until then, take real good care